What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. We are working on VEE080. It is the annual time for VEE080 content with King of the Strip on the way, coming up. So we're doing King of the Strip prep, and it's only the start of April. So you could say we're pretty on the ball this year. Hopefully this doesn't turn into another rebuild the week before a King of the Strip, because we don't want to be doing that again.
Well,
that sucked.
The reason we're starting so early is because we're making some changes that may break it.
So, as you guys would have known if you've been watching the channel, last year, King of the Strip, new PB, 1194 at 113 mile an hour in the big girl. Now, the biggest thing that was holding us back as far as our 60 foot was concerned was the fact that Rex could only launch the thing at about 3 or 4 PSI, because that's about all you could get to before it started driving through the brakes. So, as a lot of you know, with these 4L80s, you can do what we call a sloppy trans brake. I'll let Rex explain exactly what that is.
There is a converter dump still from when we put that in last year.
Yep.
But what the sloppy trans brake does is forces the box into third gear.
That's right. I already knew that.
When it's trying to select first. So
I already knew that, guys.
So the shift solenoids, there's 2 shift solenoids in the box. And the state of those 2 solenoids being on or off is what electronically selects the gears. So, you know, you have 4 combinations. You've got off, on, off, off, on, off, or on, on.
Yeah, basically 2 binary fucking.
Yeah, so it just forms a little shift matrix. So when the box is trying to select first gear, I think, if I remember right, it's shift solenoid B. I force that off, I think, which forces 4th gear. So it's important that you have the selector in 3rd, because that hydraulically forces the box into 3rd gear. It electronically tries to select 4th.
Yep.
It can't, so into 3rd gear.
Yep.
So you lose all of that mechanical advantage of 1st gear.
Yeah.
And,
so you lose all the torque multiplication of 1st gear trying to drive it through the brakes, and in 3rd gear you can load it up a lot harder without it trying to push through. And then as soon as you launch and let go of it, you shift it back to 1st, or it shifts back to 1st, and you do your run as per normal. So the difference is we should be able to launch this thing at around 8 or 9 PSI instead of 3 to 4, which is going to help our 60 foot a great deal. But it also puts a higher risk on our stock 80 series diff axle studs, stock 4L80, stock transfer case, stock stock shafts, all that sort of thing. So it's going to be a bit of, we're probably going to have to make sure we don't get too greedy with it, because we're going to start breaking stuff, but that should get our 60 foot down, which is going to help a lot.
We definitely will be able to launch it that. Testing it out here on the gravel in 2-wheel drive with the brake on low boost, I can easily dial in 7.5 pound.
Yeah.
And that's in with like 3 or 4 seconds. If you sit there, it'll keep going up. And that's on low boost too, which is only 9.5 peak. So
yeah.
On
high boost,
definitely do it.
Yeah, on high boost on the tarmac, it should do pretty well. Now, the other thing that we wanted to do was just get a little bit more power out of this thing. Now, being stock Gen 3 rods and the power it's making, we're already pushing it pretty hard. We're already asking a fair bit more of it. So we're not looking to make any more through that mid-range, because we're, through peak torque, I think we're already sort of playing with fire. It's lived for this long and we're happy with that. But if we just had that little bit more legs in the top end, we reckon that we could shave a fair bit off it. Just judging by the 60 foot time, and then versus the mile an hour and the quarter time, we reckon that there's a bit more to be made up in the back end. But IATs on this thing are a problem. IATs get pretty out of control, and we didn't want to go to E85. So one of the big things with this thing was that it's still on 98, it's still a stock Gen 3 ECU, still a stock bottom end Gen 3 LS1, still a stock 4L80, still stock 80 diffs, still stock 80 transfer case, still stock 80 wheel axle studs. So like, there's a lot of appeal to us to try and keep this as simple as possible and keep all this crap parts together and see what we can do with the time. So one of the main things that has been a problem is that we've been leaking heaps of oil out the filters, sucking oil through the intakes because they were just breathing from the covers straight to the intakes. So what Rex has done, courtesy of Raceworks, so a huge big thanks out to our sponsors there at Raceworks, always helping us out with this car and this build and trying to get us to where we want to be. So we've got a new catch can, courtesy of Raceworks, a big shout out to them. So doing a full catch can setup now, it's going to drain back to the sump and we're going to breathe back into the intake. So it's going to help as far as our oil situation and blow by, and obviously try and get some more crankcase pressure out of this thing. Well, not that that was a problem anyway, because it was already breathing into the intakes, but it's just going to help with our oil problem, really. And the other thing Rex is sorting out over here, which is our new big exciting thing up our sleeve for this year, and probably the biggest change apart from our sloppy trans brake, is we are going water meth on this thing. So with the 98, this water meth is just going to help us get those IATs down, get that little bit extra power. If we can get that extra sort of 20 to 30 horsepower in the top end, and up in the high RPMs, and just give this thing a little bit more legs. Just going off, like I said, the 60 versus the quarter mile times and the shift points and everything else. If we just had that little bit more legs, we reckon we can shave a fair bit more off this time. So we're hoping that between these two things, we can get this thing under an 11.5 this year. If we can run a bottom 11, that'll be, for this thing, a 2.5 ton bread bus with, just stock Gen 3 ECU, stock Gen 3 bottom end LS1, like just the state that it is and what it's of, and on all terrains, like no slicks or anything. So, if we can get this thing into the bottom 11s the way in the state that it is in, yeah, it'll be freaking awesome. So that's our prep. That's what we're working towards, and that's the plan. So we're doing this early so we can get some testing in with our water meth, see how it responds to a little bit more air density and hopefully a little bit more power without sending some dry noodles into wet noodles as far as the rods go. And yeah, we'll do some practice launches with the drag and a few other things, try and get it dialed into a point where we're happy that it's gone a 60 foot nice and quick and hopefully not break anything. And yeah,
that's
keen to see.
Two things. It's either we're going to launch real hard, break drive line, or the extra power might send this motor out. So we need time to fix either of those things before we try to go racing.
But yeah, anyway, ideally, hopefully we don't get to that point and we can just find a nice neutral place where it's going to work and without having to upgrade stuff. So that when we go this year, it is still essentially stock Gen 3 PCM, stock Gen 3 ECU. Oh, that's what I just said. Stock Gen 3 bottom end, stock 480, stock 80 driveline, etc. So anyway, that's what we're doing, and I figured I should film some of it. So I'm pretty busy. I'm going to get back to do what I'm doing, but I'll check in every now and then. And I'm keen to get some draggy data and try and see what we reckon this thing's going to do this year at King of the Strip. Hopefully we can draw a bit more attention again and really make some noise. But the King of the Strip is getting more and more popular as the years go on. There are more and more people bringing quicker and quicker cars. The level is continuously getting raised. It's an awesome event. We're really excited for it every year. But yeah, stoked and keen. Hopefully this year we're not completely dead tired from doing a full rebuild the week before, and we can actually socialize and talk to people and have a good time. Whereas last year we just raced and slept because we were absolutely cooked. Righto guys, we're getting late into the night now. Rex is cracking along with this. I've been busy doing big supercharger things over there. Woo, look at that. Looking good. Anyway, this is all cracking along. Rex has obviously had to shorten up our intakes a fair bit because of the catch can on this side and the water meth kit on that side. So Rex has been re-welding, gone to dash 12 breathers for the catch can instead of dash 10. Open that up a bit, get that happening a bit more. So yeah, cracking along. Rex is nearly finished. He's going to stay behind and finish this off tonight. I'm going to about to head off. Just about midnight.
I'll do the intake and get this one across the other side, but it's getting too late now. I'll have to do the drain.
Oh, to the sump.
To the sump probably tomorrow night or something.
Yep.
And for now, because we don't have any dash 12 push lock, and I thought we did, I'm just using
some heater hose.
Heater hose, which is not ideal because I don't know what the deal is, but I'd say that
oil might break it down.
Oil probably not good for it, but it's only temporary.
Yep. It's only temporary, so it'll probably only be there for 5 years.
Yeah, it's my own shit box.
Yeah,
you ever see the like the fins on this turbo? It's already used to fucking eating shit.
Yeah.
It's chopped up as hell.
Yeah, some good quality filters we got.
Oh yeah, that's like I was saying to you off camera before. I really should get rid of these after all this time. They're just that shitty design with the little like all the different adapters. They're just crap. Like they're fucking they're just shit. They are old too.
Anyway, I'm sure eventually this will end up with a Gen 4 rodded combo with a Haltech Rebel and a few other upgrades eventually, but
there was meant to be an airbox too, which I can't see happening now.
Not anymore. Not with all this stuff.
There's just nowhere to put shit. As it is, like I had to remove the radiator overflow from here. I still haven't worked out what I'm going to do with that.
No, you could just run intakes straight to snorkels and just run filters on top of the snorkels. Serves a purpose. Anywho, we're cracking along. Keen to see what this thing does with some water meth. Yeehaw. Alright guys, this is where Rex got to last night. Got it all back together and sorted. New intake pipes, new breathers, AN12 from a catch can. So huge big thanks to Raceworks for supplying us with this stuff to get this done. Always a huge support. Raceworks, that's why we run Raceworks and Raceworks. So huge big thank you to our boys there at Raceworks. Awesome stuff. So that's stage one. Now we've got to finish getting this water meth kit done.
Yeah, I've still got to do the drain.
Oh, that's right.
To the
Yeah,
sun.
you did say that last night.
I started looking at it last night and then realised it was 11:45 and I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
That's not a tonight job.
Yeah, I left here at 10 to 12. So.
Yeah, so I've just capped that for now, which I've just got to go do a little job this afternoon. I'm not going far, but I'll just be interesting to see what it does. But hopefully that stops all of the straight oil getting into the filter and soaking it and creating
dripping
oil
everywhere.
Yeah, so I'm hoping there's just enough turns in there that the air will separate from the oil and these will suck in just fumes instead of straight up oil.
Yeah.
Because it's not good for a knock.
No,
Doing that.
no, it doesn't help.
I do have to wonder if maybe I should take some boost out of it for 98.
That was water, man. Righto, boys and girls, so the setup is working a treat. Rex has had to turn the knock sensor sensitivity in the ECU down though. It is picking up a little bit of knock, and it's not quite picking up what we wanted as far as the cooler intake air temps. And our theory, and Rex's theory when he actually installed it, but he didn't really have much of a choice, is that the nozzle is too close to the sensor and the water meth isn't sort of atomizing early enough for the sensor to really pick it up. So that's what we think's going on. But anyway, it is working though. We are making good power. It did go 520, about 530, just under 530 just before, but we're obviously out of time today. And before Rex has to turn the sensitivity down on the knock sensors anymore, he really wants to get the Plex onto it so that we can have another point of reference of whether it is actually getting loud and how far we can go as far as turning the sensitivity down on the knock sensors before it's obviously going to be detrimental. So, but yeah, it's working. All right, this is where we're at currently. Yeah. Yeehaw, I guess. So basically, because of the dance that Rex is doing with the knock, and because of prior to the catch can going in, courtesy of Raceworks, big thank you to Raceworks once again, it was drawing from the breathers on the covers directly into the intakes. And what we've ended up with is a complete intake tract system that is very full of oil, and as most of you would know, oil in the combustion is very bad as far as knock goes. Considering we want to push this thing pretty hard, and now we have a catch can, which means there shouldn't be any further oil going into the intake tract, it was decided that the best course of action, as much as we don't really have the time to do it, is to pull it all apart and clean all of the intake system out and get all the oil out of it. To give us the best possible chance for this thing to not have any issues with knock for what we're trying to do. So that is what is happening at the moment. So Rex will sort that out, and then we'll get it back happening and see if we can crack that 550. If we can crack 550, we're happy to pull it up there. We don't really want to push this thing any harder. 550 wheel in this thing is already, what do you reckon, Rex? Close to like 680 at the flywheel?
Probably nudging that 700 mark.
Yeah.
Crank.
So 700 at the crank in a stock bottom Gen 3 LS1 is plenty. So we don't want to push it any harder than that. Obviously, ideally without making a mess all over the floor. Because yeah, if we cook this, we do not have any time over the next 2 months really to fix it. So yeah, that'd be not ideal. It would be very good at. So you can see this is the intake pipe that comes directly off the throttle body. That's where our IAT sensor is, and that there is our boost juice nozzle. Get some juice. Some juice in it, you heard? Also getting a service in. Get our high-tech oils in there, racing oil. Give this thing a bit of a service while we're going. Bloody hell, she'll be all ready to go by this afternoon. And we're only like 2 months out.
We still haven't tested the, we still haven't done a four-wheel drive launch with the
yeah, all the extra
sloppy
spice.
trans brake, the extra power and the converter dump. So the engine survives today will be good, but there's still other things to test that may or may not break.
Well, luckily you know someone who's got a wrecked 80 series at the moment, eh?
Yeah, I already asked him.
It's all sorted. Done on the dyno, so we're pretty happy with the results, and we shouldn't really need any more dyno time from here on out. It's just a matter of testing our sloppy trans brake converter dump situation. But yeah, all of this is working really good, and we've pretty much found ourselves just out of turbo, more or less, at 540. So Rex tried, because we've been logging back pressure as well. Rex has been logging some back pressure, and because of the back pressure that we were seeing, Rex did actually try lowering the boost and getting some more timing in it, but even with the water meth where we're at a 2-to-1 pressure ratio across the head, we're just sort of out of turbo. It's getting too loud. It's picking up knock. It is what it is. So, but still, 540 is yeah, like a 45 horsepower increase from what it was, which is what we were looking at. You know, somewhere close to that 550. Just that extra couple of horsepower is really going to help us get the extra legs in there.
So this one here, that's the back pressure, the EMAP.
Yep.
So you can see up near the top, we're running about 14 pound of boost, and we're seeing nearly 30 pound of back pressure. So that's why it's getting unhappy. So, yeah. Particularly up top, I found after about 5,000 here or 4,750, that you can see that's where it picked up a bit of knock there and sort of dropped off. It's when it's getting really right at the top of this scale here. So the water meth can only do so much.
Yep.
I think next year, if we go again, probably just make the change to E85 and see how that goes.
Yeah.
But we'll just see how this goes. This is probably going to be plenty fast enough.
Yep. So yeah, hopefully with that 540, it gets us what we want to do. Plus, like we talked about, our 60 footing with our little converter mods and gearbox stuff. But yeah, regardless, 540 is still huge. Like realistically, like we talked about, for what this thing is, a stock bottom end LS1 through the driver, and then it's making 540. Not to mention the fact that it's just twin GDX 2867s. We're making 540 wheel horsepower out of this thing.
Yeah, and you can see torque at the wheels is just,
there you go,
like 1200.
1200.
It's ridiculous.
Plus Newton meters. So this is what makes this thing so fast, is this here. Torque at the wheels. You can see how high it is. The reason this is just because of the combo, because it's making boost so early, because of the little turbos and what it is, plus how good this converter works, is what makes this thing so fast. This is why us at 500 horsepower last year were, you know, getting way better ETs than a lot of other people at 800, 900, 1,000 horsepower. This is why. It's just because of the way the setup is. That's
not full throttle either. I was rolling the throttling on these runs.
Yep.
But yeah, as you can see, like straight off the bottom, that's not completely accurate because that's roller speed. Yeah. It is about 2,500 RPM, engine RPM. At that point, we start the runoff. We're making like 350 here, and then by the time we even start rolling, it's already making over 400 wheel, like all the way through.
Yeah, so we're making 540.
That average horsepower is huge.
Yeah, but you look at this power curve, and it is just like it's not like 540. It is just on, and we're freaking going. So that's what
this thing just hauls ass in that first part of the track.
It's why this thing just just hooks up and gets out of the hole so well. And then obviously we talked to a lot of patrol owners last year about it, and for whatever reason the patrol guys can't really get to the launch and four-wheel drive properly. They can't get it right. I don't know what it is. There must be something to do with the patrol transfer cases, but they reckon it's really sketchy and they just don't like it. They can't run the patrols in four-wheel drive.
Broken diffs.
Yeah, like lots of weird things. Whereas this thing, for whatever reason, we've always been fine, and it's always been really good to run in four-wheel drive, which also helps immensely because it means we don't need slicks and we're not overloading the like one diff or anything like that. Like it just and it doesn't have a heap of weight transfer and squat and everything like that because it's launching in four-wheel drive. It sort of just gets out, hooks up, and goes. So the whole setup just works really well, evidently by our ET and our PBs. So yeah, like I said at the start of this, guys, it will still be very cool to get a bottom 11 in the way that this is still just Gen 3, stock 80, transfer, stock 4L80, etc. and still on 98. So it's not on the 85 either. So
not yet.
Not even on E. So you know, that's a lot of. It'd be a big feather in our cap to get this thing into the bottom 11s. So anyway, for now at least we know we've got that extra 45 horsepower up our sleeve.
Yeah, that's 10%.
I think, yeah, 10%. It's very significant. I think it was 507 last year. So yeah, about an extra 35 horsepower.
Oh yeah, well the two runs I got in really early in the morning before I left Benaraby after the rebuild, we saw 492.
Yep.
And it was knocking and doing all sorts of silly stuff. So I'd say it was running around about 490 horsepower.
Yeah, okay. It might have been, it was 507 the year before, must have been.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. So the other thing that we are going to do as well, I don't know if I actually even talked about it yet, but the inner headlights are getting removed. So these headlights are just going to go both sides, and I'm going to 3D print some ducts, and we're just going to make a duct from these headlights, which will be going straight through the rad support, and just duct air straight to the pods so that they're getting as cooler air as we can possibly give them. So that should also help us. It's in Benaraby and it's always start of June, so it's always quite cold. Getting into the night, it cools down as well. So we should have some really nice cold temps, and if we can get some cold air through these headlight holes and duct them into our pods here, that should help us a lot as well, as far as just keeping the AATs down to start with, as well as our water meth. So
for next
that's
year,
the plan.
actually, even just a decent intercooler would probably help.
Yeah.
I'm seeing intake air temps in the 70s.
Yep.
Even with water meth.
Yeah, so even just a good intercooler upgrade would do wonders. Yeah, this is just a, I think this is just an aeroflow intercooler.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they were even making, they make two now.
Yeah, they make
series.
like a Pro Race Series or Pro Series or something.
And at the time, again, this was 6 years ago, I'm not sure if that's the race series or not, but
I doubt it.
Pushing it pretty hard. Because as we've seen, I think it was Darcy's Patrol that had the Plasma Man in that, running similar PSI, single turbos, like, it's a little bit of a different combo, okay, but
yeah,
we were seeing
540.
Yeah, and we were only seeing like only about 10 or 15 degrees from start to finish on those pulls, whereas this thing's starting at 30 and finishing in the 70s.
Yeah.
So it's just well and truly out of its comfort zone.
Yeah. So just a good intercooler. Even if we use the e-boost to set up some water spray for the cooler.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. But anyway, all things that can be done. For now, we'll just we'll work with what we've already planned, and we'll just see if this thing stays together, and see if we can get it a bottom 11 out of it.
I think it's got a bit of ring sealing issues as well. I think that's not helping the knock situation.
Yep.
Just because of the rush job last year, and I think two home done drill jobs.
Yeah.
On the block, I was probably a little bit rough on it because we're in such a hurry. And like ever since we went to Benaraby, it's been breathing a lot heavier than it ever did, and we had that oil issue into the intake and stuff. So the catch can setup is going to help that a lot. But I still think the ring sealing issue in the cylinder is probably leaving oil on the walls during combustion, even if it's not getting through the intake, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So yeah, a decent engine would probably help.
Yeah, so we don't know. We're not sure if we're even going to bother with another Gen 3 engine for this. We'll probably just go Gen 4 the next time.
Yeah.
So we would like to get that bottom 11 in the guise that it's in before we start going that way. I mean, eventually this thing will end up like Gen 4 LS with a Haltech Rebel LS and all that other stuff. And, you know, hopefully by then, even with that, if we can get this thing to run a 10 would be off chops. But there is,
it's so sketchy already doing like 190. We're going to probably do, hopefully maybe do 200k an hour, like 115, 116 mile. It is so sketchy already.
That's why Rex drives it and I don't. But yeah.
Because I'm the dumb one.
But there's some magic and things to be said about running a bottom 11 in the guise that it's in because of the way it is. You know, once you start going Gen 4 rods, aftermarket ECU and stuff, as much as still running a 10 in this car would in any case be absolutely retarded. It's not as special when it's aftermarket ECU and Gen 4 and all that sort of stuff. It is just a big deal to do what we're trying to do with the equipment that we've got here. It's just, it's a big thing, it's a big deal, and we're excited about it. All right, guys, so just a little bit of last minute prep. Unfortunately, from the start of this video, it's been quite a while and we still haven't had any time or chance to go and actually test this thing and the modifications we've made. So we are still heading up to King of the Strip pretty well blind as to what it's gonna do. So yeah, we wanted to get some testing done with the dragger, which didn't end up happening. But anyway, it is what it is. We're going up early this year because we're not obviously rebuilding the entire engine the night before of. And they do run a test and tune on the Friday night. So we'll get up there on the Friday, do the test and tune. We'll get some numbers and some ideas of dial-ins and what it's going to do, and hopefully not break anything. And then Saturday, hopefully it'll be all good. But apparently it is meant to be raining Saturday, so that'll be interesting. But the last minute prep we're doing at the moment, obviously in the over 500,000 Ks that this trusty old girl has serviced us for, it has, you know, just aged and gotten old. And the driver's seat belt had frayed in a few places, and we sort of cleaned it up with a hot knife last year to make sure we could get through scrutineering. And the driver's seat, the vinyl seat's all torn and ripped up, and we were just running a cover on it, but it's pretty average. So, you know, roadworthy issue for one, also scrutineering issue. We didn't want to push our luck with that again. So one of our mates was wrecking an 80 series. So we've got a GXL driver's seat, cloth one. So new driver's seat and a new seat belt that's not so frayed and busted, and no more busted ass seat and seat belt. So that's obviously better all round, something that should have been done a while ago. Rex also finally replaced a window mech in this door, so it actually goes up and down without having to break your arm, so that's nice. So yeah, a few just last minute comfort, standard things, and yeah, we'll head up there and...
So last minute is Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. It's not like it's the night of and we've still got the engine out of it. So I know that we did already talk about this in this video, but like I said, it's been a few weeks through this video since we actually did the tune and stuff in the cruiser. And I had totally forgotten about this altogether until literally today when Rex started doing it again. So I was meant to try and like 3D print and develop these ducts, which we talked about, which never actually happened. Just too busy, too much stuff going on, sickness, that sort of thing. Just completely forgot. So anyway, Rex instead took it upon himself, clean up the light surroundings, weld some pipe, and basically start making what we originally thought would work, using some nice heavy mesh as just a bit of a covering, and yeah, duct these as our intakes, the inner light surrounds. So. All right, guys. So these probably ended up better than anything I could have 3D designed and printed anyway. So how good is that? Worked out great. So Rex painted the inner of the light and then left the mesh stainless so that it's sort of light should reflect off it, and it should sort of almost just look like a headlight from standing back here. But yeah, those are the two intakes. So at the moment they'll just be ducted up to the filters, but the plan is to get some material and actually duct them directly to the intake for track work. So obviously we're not going to do that for the drive up there or for street driving, but you know, with the mesh, that's going to protect it from any big stuff, and we'll duct that directly to the intakes, and that should keep IRTs nice and low. Not to mention obviously just the ram air effect of just getting air in there might actually increase our pressure ratio, or decrease our pressure ratio I should say, which will increase efficiency of the turbos, which may help a bit as well. So yeah, every little bit to get us to that 11.5.
That's it. Even if it only helps a little bit.
Yeah, even if it's only 0.2 of a second, yeah, that's...
We're down to the 1%ers now, as Darcy at Killer Boost would say.
Yeah, I even thought about the other day, just get a heap of core flute and just freaking screw it up all up the bottom. Heap of core flute, flatten out the bottom. I'll smoke a eunuch. Yeah. Get it done.
Bo even had a thought before that we've discussed before about going to alloy wheels.
Oh yeah, lighten that up too.
I was saying, yeah, we have discussed that before, going to a 17-inch alloy wheel and a road full, just a full road type tyre. That would
maybe help. Next year.
Yeah, like I said, on the dyno that would probably show up 10 to 20 wheel.
Yep.
And then obviously the weight reduction.
On track, yeah. It'll so translate.
Less weight to accelerate and less weight overall to move. I reckon we would see an improvement.
Yeah, that, and yeah, that, I reckon a belly pan just for a bit more aerodynamics. Yeah, every little bit help. Yeah, so the extra point that Rex just made was that going to those lighter wheels and tyres would only help if we were able to still keep the traction that we have. So one of the big things with this thing is the fact that it just hooks up when we're in four-wheel drive. So if you went to a smaller wheel and tyre and it started spinning, you'd start going backwards pretty quick. But anyway, that's that. That's our new seat-in, new seat belt. All happy days, ready for scrutineering and racing. So anyway, guys, that's all the prep that we're doing. It's just time to pack up now and start heading up there. So thanks for watching. As always, smash like, smash subscribe. I'm going to try and film as much as I can at King of the Strip, though we are taking the families this year, so it is just going to be what it's going to be. But anyway, we're looking forward to it. Hopefully we get that number. We'll see you on the next video. Tune in to see how the big rig goes. Thanks for watching as always. Peace out. See you. Bye.